making wood stretchers for squirrels to help the skin dry so that you can make a squirrel pelt and tan one. So I have these small pellets here that I'm going to be using. Got a variety of them. Got them from work. Or you could probably use a big pallet too. But all you need is a 19 by 2.5 board, and then it needs to be 5/16 thick. So this board right here is perfect. Everything I need, and it's a 1/2 inch thick. So all we gotta do is a little bit of planing down, and I am going to take the best boards off these pallets. Alright, so I got 6 boards off, and you're going to want to get out all the nails and screws that are necessary. For example, the ones on the ends here, I'm just going to cut them off just so I don't have to take them out, and it'll square up the board. So there's 2 benefits of not doing the ends, but the middle ones you're going to have to get out unless you don't have any within the 19 inches. So this is what we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to let these dry. They've been sitting out in the rain, and then we'll pick up once they are dry. Alright, so now that my boards have dried a little bit, I'm going to cut this first end, whatever end has the staples in it, and whatever end's not cracked, because some of these are cracked when I pull them apart off the pallet, so you gotta be careful about that. Just like right there. So I'm probably gonna cut one of these ends. I need to cut at least one end for it to square up the board, and then I will mark 19 inches, and then I will cut the other end. Add the mark of 19 inches. Alright, now that I got those ends cut, I'm gonna measure 19 inches. And then I take my other board and draw a line. Alright, I'm going to do that for all 6 boards of mine, and then cut them. So the next step is to get these boards at 2.5 inches wide. So right now, all these boards are at 3 inches. So I am going to mark 2.5 inches all the way down this board. Then I'll draw a line and then cut it. Alright guys, so I got my workpiece clamped down, and I'm going to be cutting it with this jigsaw. Here we go. Alright, so we got all the boards cut to size. Now the next step is to find the center point of the board. So the center point is going to be at 1 1/4. So I'm going to mark 1 1/4 down the board like I did the 2 and 2 1/2. So, and then I'm going to draw a line, and then that will help with our other measurements that we have to make for the rounded top. I'm going to do that with all of them, and then I'll show you what you got to do and what the measurements are for the top rounded piece. So we got the center line drawn here, and this is the first board I'm going to show you guys. I just already did everything. I'm just going to show you what I did. So what you got to do first is measure down 2 inches, mark a line, and then the board across is supposed to be 1 11/16. So just get that as close as you can. So just try to split that in half. And this one comes out to be is, it's really close. It's probably like 7/8 each side, really. I mean, just get it as close as you can. The plans online say that just 1 11/16 across here. And then you just round it up top. And then the next one, you got to go down 9 inches, mark a line, and then the board is supposed to be 2 1/4. So what you got to do is, what I did was just measuring 1/8 here and 1/8 here, and that'll get you to 2 1/4. And then what you got to do next is just take a straight edge, draw a line in between the 2 lines, and then round the top here, and then you're good to go. But I will put the dimensions in the description below for if you need to look at them. But this is what it looks like, and then I'm going to do that for all of them and then cut it out. Next, we are going to plane down the boards to 5/16, as the plans say, or about 5/16. Get close. You could do this with, I'm using a electric planer, but you could do this with a hand planer. And everything that I'm using in this video, you can find other saws and other ways to do it. It just might take a little longer if you don't have power tools. So next step is to file down like these bumps when you guys were cutting. Let's have a wood file here, and I did this one to show you guys. No bumps, just straight down. Doesn't have to be perfect, but get it kind of straight down. once you get all that, all the sides pretty straight, the next step is to see how this is still square. I did one before, showed you guys, and it's rounded, so you want to round the edges of the whole entire thing. You don't have to do the end of it. Round all the edges the best you can. You want to spend a lot of time on this because you could rip some skin of your hide if you don't round these edges. So take some time, round the edges, and then we'll stand there for that. Finish that up, all rounded off. Took a while, but these will turn out very nice. Now, next step is to sand. This is the final step. So, what you want to do is take sandpaper 150, 220, whatever. Sand the rounded edges really, really smooth, and sand the face. So it's all smooth, so you won't have any splinters or anything when you put your skin on it. Alright, so we're all done. Everything's real smooth and all rounded out. Now all we gotta do is get a squirrel and we'll stretch him on here and start making pelts. Alright guys, so this is the finished product with the squirrel stretched on it. This was a huge gray squirrel, so the tail overhangs a lot. But with the smaller squirrel, you should be able to open up the tail more. This tail I split pretty good, so it should dry out really well. So, yep, here she is, all stretched out on there. There's the tail. Turned out really good.